another me. I'm back again for another day. I'm getting better at this. Every single time, I feel like I have no idea what I'm gonna be talking about every single day. And then I'm coming here and I think about the story and I'm like, let me get the thought process about it, and then the rest just follows, literally. So today is gonna be another video like that. We're gonna talk about anything and everything as usual. Sometimes I feel like it's organized, and some days it is. Most of the days it's not. So I'm so sorry in advance if I'm rambling a lot and other videos where I was doing that. So just an information out there. Today I'm gonna share a couple of stories. Well, I will share how I got to even meet my mentor now, because I'm getting confirmed soon. As a Catholic, I'm pretty excited about that moment, and I'm just deepening that faith and understanding all it is about to actually go through that. It's not just the sacrament of it, it's like the whole meaning behind it. And I'm kind of sharing it here a bit more. And with the Christmas coming, that was that moment I felt that I wanted to share more about anything and everything, and then we'll see for the rest. And here we are. So today is gonna be that day where I was having that thought about ask and you shall receive, because I was thinking back about all the stories and how I ended up doing things that I wanted to do but never necessarily got the situation to be the perfect situation to get into doing whatever I was doing. I'm gonna make it clear, I promise. I remember when I was trying to find a place for adoration. As a Catholic, I think is that moment where you kind of have that discussion, the one-on-one with Jesus Christ, and in the silence of it all, you are feeling a lot more peace for sure, and the thoughts are just getting a little bit more quieter. It's really a strange experience, I would say, especially at the beginning, because we are so used to spend our days running around doing a lot of things and always being busy. So the time when you have to sit down and really contemplate the silence of it all, and hearing Jesus speak, or just listening to the movements of your heart and then your thought and then that discussion, you're getting a lot more depth into whatever you're going through. But I was finding a place like that where I could do that, and every church we have different schedule. And because I'm talking about it, I'm talking about the fact that sometimes as people that we love the control of things, right? I have that problem where I really have to have everything under control. Like I need to be planning every single thing that I will do, and I'm having fun doing it, and sometimes God decides otherwise, and you can get more frustrated because you are so resistant to the change and letting that control. I'm sharing a bit of that. I kind of shared that a bit in the couple of videos before, but the point with all the exercise that we're doing and getting and building that relationship with Jesus, as an entrepreneur, as somebody being on here on social media and really finding that voice, is really to be able to surrender completely. And there are multiple layers into it, right? The first step is to understand that you need to let go of that control and really making it a priority in everything that you're doing. And when you see situations frustrate you, think about what you were trying to do, because maybe you were being resistant into the changes that was coming, and God made it that way for you to kind of let it go more. So the situation that I'm sharing here is really the situation where I was really looking for that. I remember at the beginning, I think it was at the beginning of this year, it was at least a couple of months ago, and when I started to really feel like I wanted to be more into the silence and contemplation and getting to those moments, especially with the adoration, I was talking about it with my mom, and she was telling me her stories and her experiences about it, and how I could find my own peace with it. And for me, it was all about finding a place for that, because you working from 9 to 5, let's say, I'm working at the office, finding a schedule for that is something that is so hard, right? And most of the churches, usually they do that during the day. and usually it's after 8 and during the day. Not necessarily you're gonna have a lot happening after. That's what I thought. So that was me, my idea, my thoughts, and being like, I would love to find a place for that, right? And the church that I'm going to, usually on Sundays, they do adoration, but in the morning. So I'm working. I can do that. So I was desperately looking and I was browsing a lot of websites, churches nearby where I could go. Like I was browsing everything. And every church, every time that I could find a place for that, it was not during the time that I wanted, right? So I kept asking God. I was like, I would really love to find a place. And at some point, you just let it go because you don't think about it as much. You know you want to do it, but because you're letting it go, you forget that you actually want to do it. So at some point, randomly, I was able to find a church that was actually offering rosaries the first Saturday of each month. And that was one of the instruction from Mary, one of the Mary operations, to be able to do the rosary, and especially to do that at the beginning of the month, and do that every day if you want to. But it was a really great thing to start by that at the beginning of each month. The first Saturday would be around that time, right, of each month. So that's the first thing that I was able to find. And it was totally random, not far from my place, really great schedule over the weekend on Saturdays. I was like, great. So that's something that I could add to my routine, right? Because the point is always being able to participate to mass as much as I can. So even if I couldn't necessarily find a place for the adoration itself, at least I was able to find a place where I could do the rosary at least the first Saturday of the month. And at least I was not gonna be alone. That was gonna be a routine for me, so that was gonna be easier for me to kind of just being able to do more. So that was the first thing. I got there, loved it, amazing, amazing. And then at some point, randomly speaking, there was the adoration after. I was not expecting that. I think I saw the program. I found that they were doing rosaries, and then I found that they were doing the adoration as well. So that was the first surprise, a good, great surprise. It was fitting into the schedule. It was the first Saturday. It was great because I was like, finally, finally. Thank you, Lord. You heard my prayer. So I went there, made it happen, loved it. After that, I think we got to the month of the rosary, which is in October. I hope I'm not making any mistake here because my brain is pretty foggy from the day. So just saying, I think it was around October, September or October, but I think it was October. It was a full month. It was the month of the rosary, uh, 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 and stuff. So I was like, oh, good thing. This is gonna be a routine for me to kind of implement more. So I'm gonna be able to do the rosary every single day because I was already doing it, but I'm not disciplined enough. Like every human being, we know we start something, we loved it, and then we love it, and then at some point you cannot let it go. It becomes less of a priority, and then you just forget about it, right? So I was like, that's gonna be a great month for me to kind of do it, and then after a month it's really gonna be more of that habit. I'm gonna do it more. I'm gonna be more motivated to do it, and then I'm gonna just keep deepening my faith and my relationship with Jesus, with the Lord, and with Mary. And then I started doing that for the whole month, and then they were offering adoration every Wednesday. And I was like, great. And it was after work, so at the end of the day, and they were actually doing that the whole day every Wednesday up until 8 p.m. Up until the end of the day. So I was able to make it right after work. It was not far from my place, not far from work. It was just perfect. Literally, like God listened. And it was at the time I was like, huh. And I didn't connect the dots, right? I didn't connect it at all. I was like, okay, great. So you just find more of those occasions to kind of being with the Lord, and you just don't connect the dots because it just happens, and it happens without you planning for it. You planning, but then you just forget about it, and then everything start to just get put together. So I found it. I did the month. I was there for every single Wednesday for the adoration. Loved it. It was amazing. And then it was the point where I was like, after the month of the rosary, it's gonna be harder for me because to be able to find a way for the adoration during the week is gonna be harder. So it's gonna be the one time it's gonna be on the first Saturday of every month, which is good. It's already good. So it's a good way. It's an extra point here. So I loved it. And then after the month of the rosary, randomly enough, and I don't know. No, 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 no. After the month of the rosary, I kept with the routine, and then I think it was the point where I started to feel more of the call of just really getting confirmed, which I already had before, right? Like many months ago, since the beginning of the year, since last year actually, I felt a strong call to get confirmed for a lot of reasons, many reasons. But I felt that call. I tried to call my church. I couldn't find necessarily somebody that could help me. The priest kind of directed me to another church that was not far from this church because the church where I'm going on Sundays is smaller. So we just have one priest. So he's busy, he has a lot of things to do. And because I'm an adult, I couldn't go through the classic classes that younger people are doing. So I had to really find myself a way to get through a class sessions and just the whole part of just getting more familiar with the catechism again, and with the meaning of just the confirmation altogether, and then being able to have the sacrament done to me. But I had to find it myself because I was an adult, so it was not necessarily something that was easy to find. I wonder, trying to find a lot of information, couldn't find somebody. I tried to call a couple of, I think one church nearby, and then nobody called me back. And then I was like, you know what, whatever. I forgot about it. I completely forgot. And then after the month of the rosary, I felt the call. I felt the bigger call of actually doing it. I was like, okay, okay. And then randomly enough, kid you not, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks after, during mass, during going to the church every Sunday for the mass, there was that mentor, somebody that usually goes there to church and kind of takes care of all the logistic there during the mass, before the mass, after the mass. Actually, before the mass is just taking care of the hotel, as in lighting up the candles and just making sure that everything is good. He's not alone. He's not the only one to do that, but he kind of takes care of that, right? So he's pretty much familiar with the church. He's pretty much familiar with the priest, and then is somebody that is just used to that church, right? And then his nephew was getting confirmed that, I think, couple of weeks after, and then the priest made an announcement really randomly too, that for anyone that wanted to get confirmed as an adult, they could ask and go to him and ask, because this is what he did with his nephew, to kind of make him go through the catechism and then just being prepared and getting ready for the confirmation. And then literally it everything happened like that. Everything. I was like, okay. Wow. And that was at the point where I forgot completely about me getting confirmed. I knew I had to, but I couldn't find no one. So I was like, at some point, I'm gonna do it. It's okay. Leave it to the Lord. That happened. And then it took me a couple of weeks for me to kind of go and talk to him and ask him more information for that. And then that's how we started working together, and him getting me through just knowing the sacrament, the meaning of it, what it is to be a Christian, why is it important to go through those sacraments as a Catholic, knowing my faith as a Christian, and all of those stuff. It happened because, to start off, I was like, I want to have more time to be spent with the Lord. And then doors started to open a little bit more. One thing after the other, and one tiny thing after the other. And this is me sharing that with you now and kind of connecting the dots at the same time. I didn't even realize it until I actually was talking about it, which I'm doing now. And I had all those doors just opening like that. And with me going through all the sessions that we have together, I'm learning so much about the faith that I thought that I was actually very knowledgeable about. I didn't know nothing. Let's just put it that way. I didn't know anything. These those moments where my mind just goes really like into whoa, right? Because everything connects at the same time. And I respect and admire the beauty of just the Catholic faith. It's something that is so beautiful, so deep, that when you start connecting the dot and really getting there and be so curious and just keeping your eyes and mind open, I'm telling you, the Lord can do miracles. And when I started going through those sessions at the same time, because I wanted to have more times to kind of go to confessions and just being able to confess myself more and being actually a bit used to it and being able to trust the Lord more, because I just felt that too. This is how I started going to adoration more, because I found that was a church close to my place again that was actually offering adoration on Wednesday nights right after 5 p.m., right after the Mass. So I was going there just to confess because confessions were available throughout the day. And my church is smaller, so I actually can get the confessions done before Mass on Sundays, but I wanted to get more of it. And I couldn't because of my schedule. And then I discovered that church that actually is offering that the whole day, and it's a big huge church. I'm not gonna give it a name because it's gonna be just easy to guess, right? But the big one, and they offer that the whole day. And that's how, by doing those confession, I started getting to the Mass on Wednesday. And then after the Mass, I discovered they actually were giving doing adoration as well. And that's been a couple of weeks that I've known that, and I'm doing it a little bit more. But I'm always being mind blown by the things that just the Lord can do for you by just asking. And ask and you shall receive. And I think it's the same approach that I'm trying to have more into whatever I'm saying, into my own personal business journey, right? Because I said that many times on those these videos where I was like, I have a hard time integrating my Christian side and then my business side into whatever I want to do online, because I've been so used to talk about videos, used to talk about confidence without having to rely on the Lord and just Him and the relationship with Him, that sometimes I feel full to even just bring Him all the time, although I know it's just me not being used to it. And sometimes all you have to do is just to ask. And another story, and this time is related to my mentor, and that's why I'm just saying everything just start connects when you ask. That's what I'm gonna say. Because for him, he was telling me about his own journey as a Christian, right? He's always been a Catholic. He's always been really devoted to his faith, right? Growing up. And because he was so devoted, everybody was telling him that he was going to become a priest. And at the same time, he knew that he couldn't get married if he was becoming a priest. So it was like, yes, I want to be, yeah, like I wouldn't mind it. And it's because he has that great skill. And I can say it because I've been a student here, right? He's a great teacher. In terms of teachings, he's amazing. So he's always had that skill, right? Guidance skill, teaching skill, teacher skill in general. He's had that. So it was natural in that sense growing up that people would see a priest in him. But again, it didn't happen. He got married and he started working, and throughout his whole work experience, he was working in an IT department, and everything was all about just working and learning a lot of things, right? And because he was so good into the management, teaching, management in general, at some point, naturally speaking again here, after many years of working, doors open. There was a position open where he was working in his department as a manager, right, of the department. And it was the first time that a role like that would be open, because it was something they needed somebody that had the experience in the IT, right? But sorry, at the same time, an experience as a manager, like a managing experience as well. And he was perfectly fit for that. So he got the position, worked in for a couple of years, and then now he's retired. So there's a lot of things that he was doing that he's not doing anymore. And at the moment where he got retired, that's when he started to have the realization and the awareness needed to know and see that whatever that he was learning, that he learned throughout all his life experience work, he wanted to use that knowledge to be able to build the kingdom of God. And that's how he says it, right? So all the knowledge, all the talent, all the skills that he built up, it's something that he wanted to use, but he still didn't know how, right? And when he got retired, he was like, I'm gonna work in the priesthood, not being a priest, is married, but working as an agent that could just guide people through whatever they need to work through as Christians. And then he was looking for guidance from a priest, but it was still holding on onto his experience as a manager in that company. So all the identity that he built up was on that company, the role that he had. So he was just seeing himself through that lens, nothing else, right? So at the same time, he had the idea and the call of just really letting go of the whole experience that he built up and just use the skills that he developed and just turn the page once, like forever. And he couldn't. He was still resistant into it. And then when he was looking for guidance, the priest that he was talking to literally told him, turn the page. That's over. Move on, right? If it's really something that you want to do and you really want to work on the church, like in churches, and you really want to help people, you really want to guide people through, just turn the page and say yes. Answer the call. You can't be just resisting on one hand and wanting the other one. You need to leave something, let it go, right? The full yes, right? No turning back, full yes. He said it, he heard it, and that's moment that he completely turned the page. And that's how the doors start opening up, right? To the point where it's just being like, he's guiding people, but he's working with the Archbishop here of Montreal. This is how far he is now. And I asked him, we talked about it, he was like, I didn't see that coming. I knew what I wanted to do, like I knew my skills. I wanted to make them to profit the kingdom of God and not necessarily helping people making money, because that's what he was doing like most of his life when he was working and transferring it. He had the idea, but he didn't know how to integrate it. He had no idea. And that's how, when he said the full yes, doors started opening up for him, to the point of working for the Archbishop, but at the same time getting a position potentially for next year to guide younger kids in our church through catechism, right? Like a lot of things are just opting up because of the full yes and because he just asked. So the lesson for today, I guess, is really that. It's like, ask and you shall receive. And it's simple, but it's not easy, because you have to let it go of something. You have to say yes, not yes and yes. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy, because the things that I see moving in my life right now is because I'm embracing it to the fullest, or at least I'm trying to, right? When I see myself resisting into it, I question that, and then I do my best to keep offering it to God. It's the best thing ever. You keep asking, you keep offering. Whatever challenges, whatever block, whatever feelings where you just feel stuck, you keep offering it. And the doors, they are opening up so much more, right? And sometimes you might picture things happening and it just doesn't happen that way. it happens another way because the Lord is a funny one. So sometimes it's just for you to not to expect anything and to leave it alone. It's like, leave it alone. So it's just like, can you leave it alone? Can you just leave it alone? And it's the same thing for us, creators, entrepreneurs, multi-passionate, skilled people, gifted people. You may have a gift. You may have the knowledge of what you can potentially do, but from the Lord eyes, there's so much more that you can do. But it's not going to be done overnight. It's something where it's going to be the small little steps. So for me, it was just to share that optimism, right, into things, not necessarily working the way you want them, but working because the Lord wants them to work for you. And at some point when you trust him, you know he wants the best for you. And I'm very stubborn. I'm a very stubborn person. And I know there's a lot of things that you need to get rid of to even get to the position that the Lord wants to give you. Because if he gave you that today, you wouldn't be ready. And I was asking my mentor, I was like, how did you know? It was time, was like, I just asked. I just asked. I said yes, and I just asked. So lesson of today, I guess, is that asking and you shall receive. It's not just a myth. It's not just the asking once and getting it once. It's keep asking every day, every hour of the day if needed, right? And just be consistent at it. The same way you're going to be consistent here for your business to thrive, the same way you have to be consistent with the Lord, right? You keep asking, you keep offering. You keep asking, you keep offering. And sometimes you don't even connect the dots. For me, when I'm sharing that with you again, it's because I'm connecting the dots because I'm talking about it with you. That's it. But there's a lot of things now I'm seeing and I'm like, wow, crazy, crazy. And the same way, those unscripted videos that I'm doing here, the idea that I had was just to put myself out there again because it had been many months since I was out, and I had no expectation, to be honest. Like, I started this journey of just being here every day with zero expectation. Of course, I had my desires of being like, oh, it would be cool to get subscribers, it would be cool to do this, to do that, all about me again. But I came here raw, and I'm coming here raw with you because I'm not trying to pretend anything. I'm just saying things the way they are, right? And of course, for 2025, I'm gonna try to make it a little bit cuter, right? With a lot of new things and all those stuff. You know how much I love gear and I love graphics and I love this and I love that. But for the time being, I'm just coming here as a challenge for me to be out there, right? And for anyone that loves watching it, I'm definitely grateful again here. So you all welcome to be on this channel. Make yourself at home. If you have any questions, any comment, anything that you feel like resonates with you here, let me know down below, right? And I'm gonna see you for my next video. How it made sense, let me know down below. And I'm gonna see you for my next video. Until then, like I say all the time, keep smiling because it's free and contagious in a good way. Bye.